Okay, it is 8:30 on Wednesday, December 3rd. I will call the Environment and Land Use Committee meeting to order. Roll call of committee members, we'll start.
Todd here.
Munson here.
Dave Larson here.
Severson here.
Nelson here,
Klein here.
and staff members.
Good morning, Susan Fisher, Corporation Counsel.
Haley Passo, DLM.
Mark Carlson, DLM.
Kathy Nelson, DLM.
Thank you. I certify that open meeting law requirements have been met with proper posting. We have a 16-item agenda with one correction on the date being wrong from the October minutes. Well, November 5th minutes is supposed to be. And I'd entertain a motion to accept.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Klein. Second by Whalen. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So then next, the minutes of the November 5th meeting. Any correction? There is one correction in that as well, and that is of the approval of minutes from the October 1st meeting. That is the only correction I have noticed. Any others?
Motion to approve with the one correction.
Moved to approve by Larson,
Second.
second from Klein. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, our first, item number 6 is public hearing for possible amendment to the Trempealeau County's Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 3, Section 3.03, and 3. Randy, would you please read the notice?
Yes. Please take notice that pursuant to State Statute 59.69, Para 2, Para 3, Wisconsin Statute, the Trumpealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee will hold a public hearing to make minor amendments to the Trumpealeau County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, which are as follows. The amendment to Chapter 3, Section 3.03, Para 3. Please be further advised that this public hearing will be held on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, at 8:30 a.m. in the new county boardroom of the courthouse located at 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773. Prior to the public hearing, copies of the proposed minor amendments may be viewed or obtained at the offices of the Trumpealeau County Department of Land Management and the Trumpealeau County Clerk at 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 4773. To request that a copy of these amendments be mailed, please contact the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1919 or email at mark.carlson@county.trempealeau.wisconsin.us. The zoning ordinance amendments may also be assessed and viewed online at www.county.trempealeau.wisconsin.us. Written comments will be accepted by the Environment and Land Use Committee until December 2nd, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Comments can be emailed to Mark Carlson or mailed to the Department of Land Management, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, but must be received no later than December 2nd, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Trumpealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee, Kellen Nelson, Chairman.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you. So I'll call this public hearing to order at 8:34. And Mark, would you give us an overview?
Sure. I guess some staff members sat down and we discussed, how we were going to address this. And I guess we broke it down into 3 different options. One would be to leave it as it is right now. The other would be to make changes, taking out the recorded easement and make a note to written access license. That's in the red part. And then the other would be to remove the exception of the railroad language and just put it back to what it originally was, with just the requirement of 100 feet of public frontage as measured at right angles to the existing property. And there are people here, obviously, that are going to speak on this. I haven't gotten any correspondence from anybody. I did notify the townships of the zoning amendment change. And that's about it, I guess. So,
Okay. Okay, and so do have some registered to testify. Yeah, I call 3 times. If anyone wishes to testify in favor or opposition, now is your chance to do so. You can sign up back there. I'm going to start from the top here, and Karina O'Brien has registered to testify in favor.
Now it is.
Figured I could be recorded on any of them because I have a very loud voice. So, so this is about, we've been on this matter for about 5 years, and so we're bringing this forward to try to have the Trempealeau County zoning ordinance amended in we had suggested written access license. If there's a removal of the requirement of the easement, I have no objection to that. The issue is that there's a lot of individuals who are not able to get the frontage because of the railroad, and we have been in contact with the railroad. We do have a letter from the railroad that says that they're willing to grant licenses, but they are not willing to consider granting easements to anyone across the railroad right away. We did provide a copy of the license that they are willing to provide. Of course, it is always a process, even with the railroad, and trying to get them to do something that they said that they were going to do. So, so Mr. Malashevsky is pushing for this change because we just believe that there's still a need for an expanded exception to the ordinance, as there continues to be the individuals who are blocked from having frontage because of just the existence of this railroad. So the history with Mr. Malashevsky in particular is that he applied for a variance petition back in December of 2020, which was denied, then overturned, and then he brought the petition back for review in April of 2022, which was denied again. The reason why Mr. Malashevsky is continuing on this is because he has real estate there that he's not able to use, but he does have it would be beneficial for recreational or hunting land. There's no plan to develop the land. There's just a plan to try to sell off some of the land that's no longer productive to him. It's considered, quote unquote, a dead asset, but he can't sell all of it because he needs to keep his the cropland that is connected with that with his cattle to appease the lender. So he's really put in a tough spot, not because of anything that he's done, but because of just the public attributes of the railroad, the physical attributes of his land, the changes to farming. So we continue to bring it forward to you so that you are aware of these issues. I don't want to spend too much of your time going over matters that we have talked about in the past. We just are looking for some kind of solution so that he can abide by the Trempealeau County ordinance, but at the same time meet an exception for something that he didn't cause. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Once again, if anyone wishes to offer public comment, now is the time to register to testify. Let's hear from Ed himself. Anything you'd like to add?
The only thing is this. Do I have to introduce myself too?
Sure.
Oh, I'm Ed Malashevsky. I'm the farmer. The reason why I want to sell this land is back in 2019, I know we got some new board members, so you didn't hear this before. But 2019, I had 38 head of cattle down there, and 16 got spooked that night. From I don't know from what. It could have been from coon, coyotes, or whatever. They went down to Petrick Park. Then they went down the railroad track all the way to the Shank Farm, and they laid there until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then when the train came, it spooked them towards the highway. They ran along the guardrail, and 2 of them got struck. They got killed by a pickup, and so I got sued by that guy. What the heck was his name? He died 16 months later. He got $110,000 out of my insurance company, And he went and brought a motorcycle, and he didn't last very long. But anyway, besides the point, my insurance company doesn't want me to keep cattle down there no more. So it's a dead asset to me. I don't hunt, my son don't hunt, my daughter and her husband hunts, so I'd like to sell it to them. The county wants me to sell them the cropland too. They can't really afford it. I won't sell a cropland for the price I'm selling the woodland for. So that's why I want to sell this parcel to them. Now, if I can't do it, I could buy the neighbor's property, try to connect to the crossroad, and then I could sell them that parcel. That's my plan B. Now, someone, I don't know who the guy was, Karina don't remember, asked Karina if we have a copy of the license. Nobody in Trumpealeau County has a copy of the license to cross the railroad tracks. They don't give that out. We've been working with them for over a year trying to get a license. Last week, we got a response that they want to know the latitude and longitude numbers. I thought that was ridiculous, because by every crossing, there's 2,300 crossings in Trumpealeau County. By every crossing, if there's a problem, there's a phone number and there's a DOT number. Well, they told Karina that they don't have no record of that. So, we're not getting no place. All we're doing is wasting time, wasting money. And I kind of like to get this over with. 5 years is a long time. And the prior legal counsel, he said we had an issue. Back in August of 2024, the county administrator said we have an issue and we're going to correct this problem. Well, here we are. So I'd like to get this over with. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ed. Next to offer public comment will be John.
Morning, I'm John Craig, the surveyor on this. I don't have a lot to add other than Ed Malashewski is doing the most he can to try to abide by the county ordinances and still be able to do what he wants to do with the land. There's no development back there. The use is not changing. The big issue that they're running into is dealing with the railroad. It's just like dealing with a brick wall, kind of like dealing with a DNR. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and Bailey, Christoph.
Morning, everyone. Bailey Christorf. So my husband, Kevin, and I have been given the opportunity to buy this piece of land that we've been talking about between the Trempealeau County River and railroad. This parcel isn't just some piece of land that fell on our laps. I grew up on this piece of land. It's where I have a lot of cherished memories. I caught my first fish down there, my first trout. I still remember that really well. I grew up playing in the creek, catching frogs and turtles. Grew up on horseback, exploring the trails down there. And it's where I shot my very first deer at age 12. Having this land as our own, a secured piece of hunting ground that we can together manage and improve, is something that we're really looking forward to and something that really excites us. Hunting is a big passion of my husband and I. Again, we wouldn't have any plans of building down there. We really can't build down there, but we don't want to. We want to hunt it. And like my dad said, it's a dead asset to him. So, I think this makes a lot of sense. However, this ordinance as it's currently written, has prohibited us from being able to purchase this land. There's an existing legal access road that goes over the railroad tracks that we've used for decades to ingress and egress out of this parcel. Like my dad mentioned, we can't afford to buy the entire 250 acres or so of what it would take, to legally utilize this land as this ordinance is written. And like my dad said, he doesn't want to sell it, and he shouldn't have to sell it. The railroad company has been in communication and working with my family, as stated, to obtain the needed access license that would be needed to legally cross the railroad track, which would satisfy option 2 of this amendment. This ordinance, as it's currently written, it doesn't only affect my husband and I. It has and it will continue to affect future families down the road that want to sell their own land or acquire land. And, and for what? I think it's a little unreasonable as it's currently written. And so I guess my husband and I are just looking to buy this piece of land so we can hunt it, and so it can stay in the family. But anyway, so I guess that's basically the gist of it, but just testifying in support of option 2 of the amendment, which would be to strike the easement language and add the railroad license exception.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Bailey. Well, so no other letters we've received or town's correspondence?
Didn't require a
Yep,
town letter from everybody in this case, we just notified them, I guess.
yep, understood. Okay, if there's nobody else that wishes to offer any public comment, I will close the public comment period at 8:46 and entertain a motion from the committee or discussion. I suppose we need a motion before discussion.
So we're basically looking at 2 options, going back to how it was before,
3 on here.
or 3?
Way I would-
Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Number 1 would be leave it as it is. So it's, each page is
The option, I guess.
an option.
Yep, okay, yep, okay.
There's.
I'll make that motion to discuss.
Which option?
I just discussed, we talk about all of them, what we need to do.
Okay. Does that suffice?
That work? Or we gotta talk one at a time?
Is there one that you prefer better than others?
Yeah, I'd like to understand all of them, to be honest with you.
So that's okay if you make a motion
But
for
move
one,
of them.
and then we
Move
can
on to
discuss all
1,
of
2, or
them.
3, and then we can discuss it,
Yep.
comparing it to the one in which
Yep.
you're bringing up.
Yeah, it sounds like from what we heard so far, most are supporting
2.
option 2. So maybe if we make a motion to go with option 2.
Then we can dig through all of
discuss.
them. It's part of discussion.
Do you want to do it on 2 or not?
No, I know.
Then you withdraw that motion? Then I'll move to discuss that we follow through with option number 2.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Motion from Whalen, second from Klein. Now we can discuss option 2 or 1 or 3 as well. Questions?
Question, yes. Option 2 includes removing the recorded easement and adding the license. But in 3, come on, cooperate here. Yeah, in chapter 303, we've just eliminated and not replaced anything there. I'm asking why.
All right. Which one are you on?
Well,
An option.
So first, you're saying why is number 3 option?
what, no, number 3 has been, as I read it, my information has changed to the license instead of the easement, but then that's in 303, and further down the line, 303 lot requirements, that's a bunch crossed out with nothing added. I'm confused as to why that's crossed out. Or is
Because
it,
that
or
was
do I
one of
have?
the 3 options. If one of the options was just to leave it alone
Yep,
with the easement language in there, which is probably not advisable because that language isn't feasible.
right?
The second one is the one that was in red, and I don't think it's in red in your,
No.
and it's to cross out recorded egress easement, and then replace that with an assignable recorded written access license provided.
Right.
And then the last option, where everything is Xed out, is to put it all back to not even allow any of that. you
Okay,
know,
okay,
that's
that,
what-
I was
that's the-
confused on that.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Yep, okay.
So each page is an option.
Right.
So
Yep.
1, 2, or 3.
Yep.
Andy?
I do have something that I'm curious about, is like, this is recreation land, but if we're gonna do a county change, there's gonna be a lot of situations where there could be developable land in these situations, so how do we differentiate? I know this they've commented about no development, but.
I think you'd have to look at them, I mean, we would look at them all specifically, but it's not really stating it has to be a certain use, period. It's just
Right.
the access license is going to wherever it's going, regardless if it's recreational or, I'd have a hard time to believe that the railroad would allow someone to build a home and cross it for a license, because most of those licenses probably specify agricultural, recreational use for the license. I don't know for a fact, but
Would that be something that would show up before somebody actually built?
well, if it's a recorded license, that's what would show up, you
Yeah.
know. But, you know, the license could go away anytime.
Well, and if someone's gonna come in to build something, they're gonna come into the office for the permits, like, where are you putting it? I was like, well, you can't build that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it prevents them from obtaining that type of a permit, but it's just another
But it's not. but if
another
you-
problem as
They're
far
not
as,
gonna just go build a development without you guys
I wouldn't.
Staff
No, I don't.
seeing
yeah.
that.
I mean, then, I guess what I'm hearing about the license is it's impossible to even get a license and have proof of it. So I mean, what, if we have language about a license in the ordinance, I would want to see one that's obtainable and we could show proof of it. I mean, other than just hearsay, yeah. So-
Other questions, or discussion?
Kind of like what you're talking about, Mark, can we maybe go through each one and discuss the repercussions, like long-term
Sure.
repercussions of each? Yeah.
I would say option one is just not a good option to begin with, and it never should have been probably written that way, you know, and then the second option is just giving, in this case, Malachewski's an option to do what they wish, but change the language to that licensed, and I still want to see a recorded license. I guess we got to somehow get over that bridge of getting one, you know, I mean, if they got one, how come they just don't provide that? And then the last option is just to remove all that language to create, I mean, it's gonna affect a lot of people, but it'll take the confusion about what is and what isn't allowed, because then you'd have to have 100-foot of frontage, period. And there's been people that have reached out and were told all that, and they chose their plans on what they're gonna do with their property. You know, and then I'm hearing, you know, I didn't get anything official from the DNR, but trying to get some kind of permission slip from the DNR to be crossing the Buffalo Trail is gonna be almost impossible too, the way it sounds. So I don't know who we're helping by changing it, and then we're not helping, I guess we're just making it fair for the ones that had to do it correctly in the past, if we put it back the way it was. But then, you know, it does give someone an option, as long as they can get that access license, you know, but it's almost, it's, I mean, they basically stated that it's not being provided. You know, if we have language in our ordinance, we want to be able to have something with it, you know, that shows it, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the, Karina seems like she has something to add.
Sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to clarify. We are working with the railroad and we are getting responses. It's just about getting the exact longitude and latitude area for where the crossing is. Mr. Malachewski was correct in the fact that it's frustrating because we're giving them the numbers and they were able to find one number but not the other one. These are their own numbers. Their paperwork is apparently not very well organized. So that is the issue that we're running into. We've had contact, it's just very slow, and we're pushing them along, and they've never said that they're not gonna do it. It's just, they wanna make sure they have the right location in order to do it. So I just wanna make that clarification.
Okay.
That, I mean, I don't think it's on online mapping, but on the DNR's surface water data viewer, it's a mapping system. You can click on it and it'll tell you what the longitude and latitude is. It's usually like -90 point whatever for the latitude, and then it shows exactly what the longitude, I mean, that's attainable. It doesn't have to be done with a survey or whatever, that's obtainable somewhat easily.
Stacy, do you have something?
Yeah, so with what Mark talked about, say if we went ahead with the second option, but if the license is still needed, that's not going to immediately resolve this particular state situation. They'd still have to wait for the license?
They would still need the license.
Yeah, okay.
And as I understand it from Attorney O'Brien, is they're working on it, it's just in the process.
I think it gives a workable alternative, Mark, that the license is in the county board rules, so we are still maintaining control of what's happening as far as frontages. You know, the license can be from whoever's going to be offering it. It's up to those individuals. We take the weight off of the county restriction, and we make it open that it's available. And that's what I'm looking to see, is that we make it available on our part. We can't control the railroad, we can't control the DNR, but on our part, we're not restricting a landowner's use of his own property.
I would agree with that. I mean, that's the whole intent was, I mean, they had a whole laundry list of items that they were gonna put in there originally about the landowner had to have a CSM and all this other kind of stuff, and they'd have to bring it here and get approved by the committee. The whole intent was to kind of make it a little more simplified and put it on the landowner, not us, as a committee or a department, that if they can provide us the minimal information that's in that language, we'd be acceptable to that.
And that's why I support option 2.
And,
So go ahead, Randy.
I'm a little curious about if those licenses would be transferable like, a piece of property and that issue.
I don't know if they are or not. I've seen a blank one, a copy of a blank one. I've seen some from other railroads that had different criteria. But I guess without seeing a specific license for a specific crossing, we wouldn't know the time frame or transfer, if it's transferred or not, you know? Yeah.
And are they going to use,
Yeah, okay, there you go.
And that wouldn't be our,
It's a contractual agreement, it's always between the two owners.
and that wouldn't be our responsibility. They'd have to do it if they resold it or something, so.
They would have
It
to
takes us out
provide,
of it.
well, they'd have to provide a current license, I
Right,
guess, whether
to
it's
do-
the new owner, the new owner,
Right.
the old owner, I would say that they'd have to provide something with us to say that it still maintains the intent of the ordinance.
Absolutely.
Tony?
Has the parties approached, what is it, the River Road on the east or south side or whatever, approached the neighboring parcel owners to get 100 feet of frontage, buy off from that property owner to come back to get access, or you can't?
Yeah, if you want.
Anybody, you're involved, so you're the yes.
People online can hear that.
That is technically an option, however, the way that the river's always changing. So there's actually no access whatsoever between the railroad track and the river right now. There's no land left. So there's actually no way of without trespassing on the railroad track to get from Crossroads to this section of land we're looking at buying. Legally on a map, we can do it, but in reality, we'd have to wear waders to get to our piece if we were gonna access it from Crossroads.
Legally, I
I think
thought.
you're talking, are you talking about the landowner on River Road?
River
Going
Road, if
across
they-
the river, 100-foot stretch down to
Yeah,
that
if they
road. Yeah, I
bought
don't know if
property
that
right away.
landowner would be open to that. I guess that's up to them.
Well, that's what I mean, but
that
that is the option,
That's the option, yeah.
because then you would have road frontage.
Right. Yeah, on paper, you would have frontage. That doesn't mean you need to get to and from it there. but-
Right, but you'd have frontage, so you could walk there or whatever, as
Yeah.
you told
Then
me
you'd
at
have to
one
cross the
point.
river,
Right.
but, yeah, I mean, I think they've tried a couple different options. The Crossroad one, Bailey's correct on it goes from, the river is really eating away and they can't, get access there without infringing upon but there's always, there's ways of getting frontage other than just one area, but.
Well, the goal of this isn't necessarily to address this singular issue, it's to create a pathway that anyone can use.
And still maintain some control as far as what the county allows to go in. And
Yep.
That's why I'm supporting the second option.
Okay.
Because I would assume that Nick, or GIS maps or what, that's a floodplain anyway, so it couldn't be developed anyway, correct?
I wouldn't,
I would
wouldn't
assume,
think so.
but I guess it would be parcel by parcel decisions in each case.
yeah.
Yeah, it is parcel by parcel, but the language is specific to a railroad right-of-way and a navigable waterway. Now, that's what the language is originally, so there's a good possibility that it all would be undevelopable, you know.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Nick, go ahead.
So this is the subject property that we're talking about, and Ed, in my last conversation with you, we were looking at possibilities of trying to accommodate the current ordinance by you acquiring land from the landowner to the north. And this is how basically the parcel would look, to allow Bailey and her husband to meet the ordinance as it's currently written with the 100 feet of frontage if they acquired land to the north. If that's not an option, we need to go the route of having something changed in the ordinance to allow for the license. And I guess I would ask the question to the committee. So currently, right now, everything that's shaded and outlined in red is considered a legal, non-conforming parcel, meaning that the parcel is legal in its standing as a whole. It's non-conforming to our ordinance because of, it doesn't have the proper frontage. So the question that I would have is, right now, would Ed be granting Bailey and her husband an easement to cross his property to access that land? And is that easement going to be perpetual, running with the land? So if Bailey and her husband ever decide to sell the land or put it in some other type of ownership of themselves, an LLC or trust, that there's always going to be an easement running with the land? Or do you require them to have 100 foot of owned land across Ed's property, the part that's shaded, at least to the railroad tracks, without dividing it any further? And again, this is all a complex situation because every single area of the county is different on how you want to handle these. And when it comes to the licenses, and like Cody was stating, that it's a contractual agreement between the current owners, if they go to sell that property, how are we going to guarantee a new license is going to be recorded to the next owner? And then if it's such a burden right now to get this, Mark and Kathy are going to be dealing with the potential zoning violation of not having that license recorded with the new owner. That's kind of all I wanted to add at this point.
And I think part of the conversation that we had in the past too was, as people retire from within county government and we lose that institutional knowledge of what happened, it's hard to follow if we don't have real good record keeping, and we don't want to leave the next buyer not having what they need for the property.
I mean, it's good points to consider without a doubt. I mean, it's things that we can't control. But
Yeah, it seems like we're just gonna have to pick what seems, it looks like the best possible option, even though it's not gonna be the most ideal.
I don't know if there is an ideal one.
Right, yeah.
There is no ideal in this. Right.
Yeah.
So, if this is what it looks like as the county as a whole, the areas that would be affected, because you have the DNR trail to the north, you have obviously the CN rail in the center, and then you have the DNR bike trail and the rail on the south end of the county. And I kind of looked at some different areas. Here's, for example, we have one landowner here, this is down in the town of Dodge area. The shaded part here in kind of the tan color, that's their land that they have on the east side of the railroad tracks that butts up to the county road. But then they have this large area here that's on the west side of the tracks. If they wanted to divide that, when I zoom in here, there is no rail crossing. Who knows how they get it to their land on the other side of the rail? You know, do they just walk across it or whatever? You know, so there is no actual rail crossing in that stretch there at all. So these are things that we have to think about when you're talking about making a county-wide change to the ordinance, what type of effect it's gonna have as a whole, not just in one situation.
Just for clarification, Nick, so when you're pointing out this one in Dodge, are you saying, like, say if we went with number 2, then that wouldn't work for them to parcel that because they
Unless-
don't have,
They could do it, Stacy, if they sell to an adjoining landowner,
right, yep,
you know.
okay.
In that scenario, they wouldn't be able to obtain a license,
No
because there's
license
not
to
one
get.
there to obtain, I guess.
And that's gonna happen probably more than just there too, if you keep digging.
Yeah.
And we can probably look at an awful lot of them, there's something like that, because there's lands with a lot of restrictions as far as the access.
Absolutely.
As far as anything that you would propose alternatively, Nick, that modifications, or are we still kind of sitting on nothing's perfect? We could find a lot of reasons why this isn't perfect, and I'll guarantee it's all across the county. But we've got to find a way today to solve the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning one way or the other with, you know, putting it back the way it was, and then people would have the variance option, and all this process is kind of an argument for future variances if we wanted to grant a variance. But then we're telling them they can do it, and then all of a sudden they're landlocked and they can't get to their land because of some reason, and then it would be our fault. You know, they'd say it's our fault for letting them do it in the first place, you know. So I don't know, I mean, after hearing, you know, this example, and after hearing Nick talk, you know, option 2 isn't even the best deal, you know.
We're back to 3? Just
I mean-
going back to the way it used to be.
I mean, and then, because he, you know, Nick had that outlined of what they could do in this scenario, to get that road to go to that cross road. But this is just for his scenario. Somebody else might not have that scenario.
Well, that's what happened, Mr. Chair. That's what happened up north in the town of Unity or whatever. A farm got sold off. It was off the railroad bed. Had the Beef River going through it. They had no frontage to Highway 10. So that landowner then, another parcel to the south was up for sale, so he bought part of that and another party, so he had road frontage to get to both parts for his hunting purposes. So, I mean, there is no right way to appease this. I mean, really, I mean, there's not anymore. I mean, the railroad come through. It is what it is. We can't deter from that.
I mean, I think at a minimum, if we go the route of option 2, based on the map here, you know, I don't know if the way Bailey and Ed would have it worked out, where they wouldn't have that goofy strip of land going all the way up to the north that would abut to that adjacent landowner, but if they just kind of carved it up to make it seem like it's gonna make sense, but then, so they have at least 100 foot of owned land, at least out to the railroad, in some fashion where it's not gonna divide up the land anymore. And I don't know if you would want that on an actual crossing area, or how you would want to go. I think, Mark, that was the talk when it was the easement language, was it was going to be an easement going at least to a rail crossing. But like we saw in the other examples, there isn't crossings in every spot.
So if we were to not go 2 and go 3, it basically brings back the variance option to go to the.
There's
Board of
always a
Adjustment.
variance option. I mean, they got to prove in he tried that and it failed, you know.
Right.
Because his options were to sell it all as a whole, you know, he didn't wish to do that.
Right.
And then, there really wasn't a whole lot of discussion about getting frontage to the River Road, I guess. We didn't really talk about that one so much, but yeah, I mean, the original language would just require people to have frontage, period. Or scenarios where they have applied for a variance, you know, they'd have to plead their case and the Board of Adjustment would grant a variance or not grant a variance. And it's been proven that they have not granted one in the past.
Option 2 still seems like maybe our best option of some bad options to address this.
And that's what we're going to be voting on when you call the vote, Kellen, will be option 2
Option two.
unless, and it's already been debated, so it can't be withdrawn.
Nope, understood.
I'm inclined towards the option 2 also. But at the same time, by approving the option 2, we're not saying you can't buy some extra land and go that route, that
Right.
would still be an option for them to do.
Nick? Yeah.
Susan, can something be added in the language that they at least have to have some type of perpetual easement to the property? I'm thinking long-term, I mean, granted with Bailey and Ed's situation, it's family, but they're not gonna own it forever. And I would hate to see the parcel that's outlined in red, if that's what it's gonna end up being, that it doesn't at least have a perpetual easement to it.
To the property.
Yeah.
Do you mean between the parties? Because the parties can not the railroad.
Yes.
Between the parties, they can agree to whatever they want.
Yeah.
With the railroad, as we know,
Yeah.
they're not going to agree. It's going to be specific to the current owner.
Yeah, I know that when we have land that gets divided, right now, we currently require own 100-foot of frontage, so we have some control in it. And I was just wondering if we could have a little bit more control in situations like this, where at least the buyer of the land that really is not abutting like up against the railroad, at least has some protection with that land with having a perpetual easement.
It's going to come down to whether the parties want to agree to it.
Okay.
I think, and I guess I'm a little bit cautious to go too much further down that path.
Yeah, okay.
Because that'd be the other thing really required with this parcel, because it is essentially landlocked. Even with the proposed language change, because there's no, unless there's an access point up where it actually borders, which I don't believe there is.
Yeah, because if we would tell them to have that 100 feet of frontage owned, the shaded parcel, you're gonna subdivide that again, at least with an easement across it.
You'd at least have a path.
They at least
would-
have some rights to it perpetually.
And that's kind of a civil issue, though.
Yeah, I
between
know.
them.
Kellen, don't you, if you're okay, it's up to the buyer too, right? I
Right.
mean,
They
they have a
both have to agree to it.
responsibility as a buyer to do their research to figure out what they need to do if they were gonna buy it to access that land.
Yep. Okay. Well, any other discussion? Questions? I think I'm gonna call the vote. So, all in favor of the motion to change the language to the option 2, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will move this to full county board for final approval, and that should be in December meeting? Okay, we'll hopefully resolve this in the next couple weeks. All right, thank you, guys. Item number 7, proposed 2026 fees and fee schedule worksheet. Discussion, possible action, that's from Mark and Haley. Oh, shit, I gotta read that.
I'm sorry. Jean, here, this is black.
Oh, I forgot I had a red one. Thank you.
Okay, so the resolution is going around, so just be prepared to sign that one. So we are bringing forward a few fee changes. This is due to the rising of operational costs and how much it's costing to produce different parts of what we do. So as far as like, one example would be the 911 signs or the signs that are next to your house. The cost of getting those produced and the cost of the pole that goes in have all risen. So we are increasing fees in order to essentially stay with what it is costing and having a little extras to offset our operational costs as a whole for the department, so that will decrease the levy costs overall in the budget. So this would allow for our budget to be a little bit eased on that levy side. This was not included in the budget as it was presented, but the budget was passed in what was originally the fees, which are highlighted in yellow on this sheet, and I can pull it up too. The red on the right is what we are proposing, so it kind of makes everything just even as well when we're going through. So as far as the process to go through with this, it does state in our ordinance that it is a county board decision to do fee changes. So we would take this to the county board this month as well,
Okay.
if it went forward here.
Any questions for Haley or Mark on these? Most of them seem pretty logical.
Yeah, I just have a quick question on, so the bottom with the erosion control, where the second and third are crossed out, what's the difference with those?
That's a really good question. So we have had discussions internally on why we have so many options for erosion control. So the options were based on the size. We don't see a lot of B and the more than 5. Anything over an acre does have to go through DNR and get a DNR permit and stormwater permit and everything like that. So we discussed internally and said, let's just have one erosion control plan or permit and then just have it at 125. We're looking at the same things. After that 1 acre, DNR is reviewing it. They have to go through the full process with them.
So you're simplifying government, Haley?
Correct.
Turn your mic on so people can.
So you're simplifying government, Haley? That's what
Yes.
you're saying. Apologize for the mic not being on.
Yes. And it's easier on our end too, instead of trying to, go through when a person is here, trying to be like, okay, which one do you have to do?
big? Yeah.
We always default to the erosion control A. So we're just gonna say erosion control and move on.
Okay. Sounds good.
Just for clarity, in my mind, the two that are crossed out would now, if somebody comes in for that, would come under the A category. All erosion control. would
All erosion
be
control
the county
underneath one.
permit of 125.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
The other note I just want to make, kind of along the same discussion here, with the county sanitary permit, so it's the third one underneath sanitary, so it's towards the bottom, and it says county. We're going to update it to county sanitary, so that includes a reconnect, a repair, or a privy, and we're making that all the same price. Prior, they were like 2 different prices, and it was more confusing for everybody. So we're trying to just simplify this and make it easier for everyone as they're coming in to make permits, and also with changing staff and everything, this is easier as well, and makes it simplified.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the fee schedule as far as listed and forward it on to the full county board.
Okay, motion made.
And I will second that motion.
Second from Todd. All in favor, signify.
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
one, on the upper fee schedules, those increases are based on
Our cost.
just because, or do we have bids from the inspectors that
So that's
cause
the
this?
zoning part. That is not
Not
the
changing
UDC
anything
part.
with
It's just,
So the inspector, I did email them, they are not increasing fees for 2026.
Okay, that- I hadn't heard anything
They are
about
going
that.
to look at it for 27. So as far as 27 goes, we may have to look at the UDC part of it or the inspection part. The zoning part is our rising costs as far as even just operational costs within the county. Our wages go up, so we should be correlating that to our time that we spend on those zoning fees.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the presented fee structure, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move that to full county board. Item number 8 is a zoning update.
I guess the only thing is on the 15th, Rebecca and I meet with Eckers and Schwartels to discuss their operation and how we're gonna move forward with all that after all this. And we talked about it at numerous meetings, just to kind of get their point of view and then move forward with how we want to address those types of businesses down the road. So we'll know more, we'll share that information at the next meeting and what was discussed there.
Okay.
And then zoning is just same old every day. We got some legal stuff going on right now, and maybe the snow will cover up a few things so people can back off till spring, I guess. But it's always something going on in zoning, I guess. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mark. Next item is a solar farm proposal, discussion, possible action.
I just left that on, same thing with the data that's collecting, like, we're gonna be having a Zoom meeting with a solar farm company. They requested it, and that'll be on the 11th. Myself and Susan, maybe a few others are just gonna hear their story or whatever they wanna do. I haven't really got any indication where they're at, but I did talk with, the company was Atlantica or something like that, and supposedly they're the ones that bought out Solar Stone, which was the ones that were looking at the northern part of the county in the Osseo area. So maybe that's where they're talking about, but we'll know more once we discuss it with them.
Yeah, per the email that I had read, it looks like the Osseo area. So.
And then
Okay.
there is an article in the Wisconsin County Associations magazine I'll hand out here today, and talks about the trends in county regulation of large scale. So it kind of touches on a lot of things we've already talked about, but I'll hand it, well, I guess just hand it around here. But, I just got the magazine yesterday or the day before, so I haven't really read it 100%, but it kind of reiterates kind of what we're doing right now, I believe, so.
it's going to add a point of interest, at least to me. I saw it on a TV. But they're talking and looking at experimenting with adjustable heights on solar panels to allow potential cattle grazing underneath them. Just thought that was they're experimenting with it. So,
Yeah, there's always something, I guess. They want to put a good spin on it. I don't know how much grass would grow under a panel, but I think it'd be shaded or no water or something, prohibit.
Make sure you don't have lice on your cattle, because they'll rub the heck out of them.
Yeah, there's always something with that, and I guess, it's gonna be coming no matter what we feel about it or not, so we kind of want to, hopefully we'll get a little more information. They're kind of reluctant to share their information on who they actually are, but we'll know more on the 11th for that specific case anyways.
Mark, are you familiar with what happened in Barron County as far as their solar farm ordinance and restrictions that they were able to enact on the local area?
No, I guess not. I've only heard some things from some of these, like the next topic, these data collecting, something up by Menominee, something went down up there, and something with annexation to the village and their city, and that fell through, and I haven't really heard anything from Barron County, no.
Barron County had a workshop at the WCA meeting, and they were able to enact some local ordinances along with, on the level of the solar farms.
It'd be nice to know how they could, because we basically had the understanding we couldn't.
I was under
I mean,
that
they can
understanding.
enact an ordinance, but is it something that they can actually follow?
I'll get some homework for you, and I'll give you the background on it, because it was an interesting meeting after the meeting that we had here locally.
Right.
And they did talk at length of their ability to have some local input as far as what was done as far as the solar farm went.
If I may ask a follow-up question.
Yes.
The WCA Council has been pretty clear on the limits that counties have. Did the WCA Council participate in that presentation?
The council didn't, it was an individual county presented on it. And the individual county put some steps as far as, I believe there were 6 steps that they had that they were able to enforce some local control over that through the, working with the PSC.
Sure. So was it more about working with the PSC, or was it kind of your typical setbacks, aesthetics, where counties can get, kind of caught up on things?
It was a 360. It was everything you could possibly do as far as locally to be able to have local control over and work with the PSC. So interesting workshop. I did get some homework on it, and I will get that to you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, is that something you could share? Because I know I was part of the steering committee for the WCA Land Use and Agriculture, and Atolis gave a lengthy, I guess, a presentation, and the impression I had after that was just the same, that we've done all we can, and then you hit the restrictions, but, I mean, I get the impression that there is, some work being done at the state level to see what we can do with the PSC, to bring back more local control, but yeah, if you could send that out.
Yes, I can.
that
I'll
would be
make sure I
great.
verify it before you have the material available.
Okay, so if that's all on number 9, item 10 is data collection centers. Mark had,
I guess I kind of left that one in there also, like I noted, but I just wanted to share with you this, Dane County's resolution that they had proposed, or maybe they implement it, but in regards to data centers, because, I don't think it falls under the solar where they got, I think, as of right now, I think there probably might be something we could do about data centers, at least I think so. Because it doesn't fall under the solar or the utilities or anything, it's something completely different. And then, from what I can understand, the Dane County's is pretty extensive, and they just wanted to kind of get some kind of study thing going on to show what they can and can't do. I don't know if it's something we would want to pursue, I just kind of wanted to share their information.
And Mark, Senator Staff Schultz said totally different situation when I asked him the question when he was here last time. Data centers doesn't have near the state input as what the solar farms did
Right.
because of that, and he was
Maybe it's something
adamant on
we
that.
can do something about it,
That's what he
instead
expressed.
of being made or told we can't, I guess.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
do we have large capacity wells, I assume, go through the DNR? They're not regulated here at the county, correct?
Yeah, that seems to be the water usage and water,
So
what's left afterwards is like or hot water, it's gonna.
Yeah, does that go to cooling ponds and then it's recycled through, or is it discharged into the rivers on some of these, or what's anybody heard on?
As far as the self-contained is what, the ones that I saw given examples where they're not allowed to, which is great riparian law, they're not allowed to discharge,
That
as
water.
far as, at all. That's most of, that you can't impact the downward flow. And so that's a big thing as far as the data centers. But the ones in southeastern Wisconsin, the volume of water that they're using, it's really gonna be tough to have a self-contained system and be able to have the capacity to cool that many to make the servers, feasible.
Yes, between the noise and the light, that's what Dunn County is going through now. I mean, it's 70 to 100,000 gallons a day minimum, plus all the noise, the electricity consumption. I don't know what regulations we could really do. What's in our industrial code? Not much, is it?
Not as it's written. I mean, when these things were written in our codes, they're so old.
Would that be fall underneath an industrial zoning then, or
I mean,
how would we do
industrial
that?
zoning, the definition alone just talks about machinery use or dust or this here. I don't think it would fall under commercial. It would have to be industrial or I would say it'd lean more towards industrial than
Because it'll
commercial.
go on ag land, I assume, or close to, or unless it's annexed in by a city.
Unless it was allowed on certain, with conditional uses and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, it just seems pretty intrusive, and then, like you said, the water usage.
I think it's justified starting to spend some time looking into this.
It's not gonna go away.
No.
I have read that there are counties that are trying to do local regulations on solar or wind, both. I mean, they are challenging the state, just from what I've been reading.
But it sounds like right now, as far as data centers, the state is not that much involved at this point. I mean, I haven't,
I don't think about it at this point, really, but, I mean, but they're still taking over hundreds of acres of property,
yep, yep.
and somebody could do something about it, not necessarily prevent them, but make sure they're done
Control,
right. Because I mean, the sand mines pretty much proved what they do to us when they come here and promise all kinds of things.
Yep.
And how many actually delivered that,
Yep.
And then when they didn't get what they wanted, then they got out of the county's jurisdiction and went to the cities and villages and,
Did what they wanted.
and I don't wanna see that all happen again. Even with solar, where it's time to get out of the business if it becomes the sand mine stuff all over again, because that was not fun. So,
No, I'm sure not. Okay, I think at this point, we will probably be keeping this on.
I think it's something that we should discuss, and as the information becomes available, definitely share it amongst ourselves.
It'll be interesting to dig through the Barron County
Yeah, I
example.
guess I
on the
have to
solar.
look at that one a little bit more.
As far as, it's what their approval process with the PSC, it turned out to be a very large operation, but they were able to have some impact on it.
Okay, Hey, and that would be
Unless they were Breaking up something that wasn't.
I think a lot of it was
legit, yeah.
maybe they're banking on the businesses and the PSC to play nice with the county, to have some recommendations, but maybe not requirements, but we'll have to see how that all pans out. But-
Yeah, it was dealing directly with the PSC.
Because I know John, I talked with John Skog, who has been an advocate of, he brought up some kind of meeting, and that might have been the one he was talking about. And he didn't go, he was not able to go to it, but he did share it with me, and he just gave me that the other day. That might have been the meeting he was talking about.
Yeah, and I was there.
So,
Is that, because St. Croix and everything is part of that 10-mile creek thing with that power plant in the cities that's being shut down, and that's a bordering county, or were they trying
I'm
to?
not familiar with that in comparison.
I think that might be what he was referencing to, that St. Croix thing, not necessarily Barron County.
Because I know they've got over 5,000 signatures or whatever, and they've hired attorneys to go fight the PSC on this.
Okay, more to come.
It's evolving is what I would say if I want to use the proper term.
I think that's fair to say. All right, so that moves us on to item 11, conservation projects and bidding procedures, discussion from Haley.
Yeah, so I'm just bringing this forward as Susan and I have met a couple times and we will continue to meet. We, as staff, are looking at updating the bidding procedures and just how conservation projects are bid, awarded, billed, all of the process. The last time this was done that I can find any documentation, I think was 2009. And I think that was just let's update a few words in Microsoft Word and publish it out. And there's a few things in there that aren't even relevant to today and really do need to be updated. We've had some questions and concerns from contractors about the bidding procedure, about billing, and we've had a couple comments and concerns about certain contractors. So there's even, how do we deal with contractors that do late performance? How do we deal with, incomplete projects, stuff like that. So there's just been a lot of discussion and potential issues that have come up in the last couple of years that I've noticed that need to be some sort of procedures in place in order to move forward. Because right now it's kind of like how do I proceed with this, Susan? And there's no documentation, there's nothing I can stand behind and saying, if there's an issue with a contractor, how do I remove them from a project? Or how do I get them off a list or something like that without having some sort of leg to stand on if, anything was brought forward. So I'm just bringing it up today just to say that it will be coming to you guys as far as a actual action item. There is no action today because I do not have any options at this point. Susan and I have been discussing, and I don't know, it's kind of like the public hearing today. I don't know if there's any one right answer for this because there's so many scenarios and so many options. So it's probably going to be the best of the evils that we come up with. So there is different options. And in statute, it does say that the LCC, so the Land Conservation Committee, is the deciding factor on how to move forward with the bidding and securing these projects. So that's why it's being brought forth to you guys instead of just being within a house. And it's good to have you guys informed on these processes as well when, say people call or something. So,
Haley,
yeah.
I'll add to that, because we talked about that. There's a contractor that came up to me and said, these people are winning these bids, but they're not getting the jobs done because they're too busy, so they can't get to the job. So then, why did that other contractor lose the bid when he can do it right now? Kind of a thing. So
Yes.
it's frustrating on a lot of contractors.
Correct, yeah. It's not just a single occurrence. This is, something that's been brought up to me, to other individuals, that it just needs to be looked at and updated on our end. So it's gonna take some time, but we're trying to get it done for this, upcoming construction season, so it's kind of crunch time at this point, so.
Does this kind of tie into our next item?
I don't even remember. Kind of.
Maybe, little?
A little. So yes, I just wanted to bring it forward. If anyone has really strong opinions on how it proceeds, please talk to me. I'm willing to have conversations with you guys, because really these projects are the landowner and the contractor. The contractor is doing work for the landowner. We are just cost sharing for the landowner. So there's kind of a middleman, but kind of not. So it's a different situation than the county receiving work or the county receiving products from a contractor. So that's where it doesn't fall within like our, is it the procurement thing? So it's a little purchasing policy.
It needs to be updated.
Yeah, that is another instance that needs to be updated as well. So it doesn't fall within there either. So that's why this is being brought forward. So just as a highlight of more to come.
Okay, sounds good. Well then, item 12, debt cap fund extension request.
Yeah, so let me find my current paper. So we are allowed with our debt cap funds to extend for a 1-year extension. In order to do that, I have to get LCC approval to move forward in extending those funds. So there are 3 projects at this time. This could potentially change if a project is completed here in the next week and I'm able to pay it out. But I'm putting them on here just to be on the safe side. So the first one is the SEG, so that is our soft practice funding, and that's going to be for a nutrient management plan. So this one, it makes sense to extend it. It is not because of a contract or anything. Nutrient management plans are written in the winter, so we signed the contract this fall. They'll work on it over the winter. They'll complete it by April 15th, so we'll pay it out at that point. So it makes sense to extend it so we can use those funds. I think we also have another one coming next year that will pay on that. So it's great to see a new nutrient management plan coming forward. And so that one is an extension of $8,720, and then we'll pay it out earlier in '26. The following two are bond funds, so those are our actual hard practice or our structural funds. Those are going to be, the first one is a two-part project, and so that means it's a very large waterway. So we did the upper sections, and then we'll do the lower section next year, because we didn't want to do, 5,000 feet of waterway in 1 year. That leaves a lot of exposed ground, and it just is not a good practice to do. So that's why we broke it up. So this one was a planned one in being a two-year project, and we do have to extend it, so it's about half of what the project cost is. The following one, this one was where we've had some issues with the contractor being able to find the last part of this project. So in this project, there was a fence that needed to be installed, and it has to be installed to NRCS code and NRCS standards. It is not just you put up a fence and call it good situation, and you need to have people that are willing to put up a fence that is extremely sturdy. We'll put it that way. So just finding people to put up a fence is very interesting. I didn't think that would be the one that would be a problem this year. But that is the reason for the unavailability of contractors, is just that last section of that project. So we've already paid on the rest of it, so this is just a partial of what we'll extend as far as that project. So in total, it didn't add them together, but it's roughly about 20,000 with change being extended into next year. So I'm just looking for an approval to extend those funds so that we can use them and pay them out then in '26 and not have to reissue contracts and everything like that.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Move to approve
Second.
from Klein, second from Larson. Any other discussion? Pretty logical. I am curious about the fence, but we can talk about that later.
Yes.
steel braces is all I'm thinking.
Yeah, but anyway, all in favor of approving the extension request, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Conservation update from Haley.
Perfect. Okay. And then, so conservation update, so we'll go on, so the nutrient management plan classes with Western Tech will be starting in January. There was a documentation sent out to, producers that have previously written their own plans, so they have gotten information on that. So they do need to sign up prior to those dates, and that is through Western Tech. They don't sign up through us, they sign up right through the technical college. And that contact information is on paperwork. It was shared on Facebook, and I can share it out if need be. So we do reimburse for those classes. That's our NMFE grant. So it's a great option for producers to write their own nutrient management plan. The BTFN, so our farmer-led network, they did receive the grant again for 2026. This year they received $26,800. I shouldn't say this year. 2026 they received $26,800. That's roughly about the same as they received in 2025, which is exciting that they can keep working on, kind of advancing different practices and just kind of innovative ones throughout the county. We're getting surveys finished up for projects for 2026. Rick and Morgan were out doing surveys and getting all of that stuff ready to roll so we can start designing over the winter here. It's a good mix of grade stabilization structures, waterways throughout the county, which is exciting to see. And I will be bringing approvals as far as like spending all of our grant funds probably in, I would say probably April, would probably be my best option on that part of it. Poster and speaking, I'm gonna give one last plug here. So the materials are due to me or the county by December 22nd, so that's right before the kids go on their holiday break. Judging will be, as far as for the poster and speaking, on January 14th, so that will be after they all come back. And so if you have, youth in your life, it would be great to see more people participating in the poster and speaking. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm excited. I've already been contacted by a couple different schools that they have handfuls of posters that I need to pick up, so it's really exciting. I can't wait to see them. So I'm excited to see where the numbers are at this year. We have a conference coming up here in December. I'm not attending, but Rick and Morgan are, so it's the Wisconsin Water and Soil Conference. It's a great conference down in the Dells that have been going on for the last, oh gosh, probably 10 years or something. It's a really informative one, a lot about soil health, cover crops, everything like that. So, a couple more plugs. I know I'm talking a lot. Tree and shrub, we are sold out of a handful of items already. So make sure to get orders in. I think the last I looked, so that was like yesterday, I had 141 orders, which is really exciting. And I'm pretty sure if people are looking for pines, that's usually what I'm being called for now. We're getting close to being completely sold out of pine trees, so. And then as far as reimbursements for 25, I have submitted and received a couple of them already, so I'll be finishing up the rest of them here in the coming month so that that is all completed and we'll get reimbursement for the things that we've paid out from different grants. And last but not least, which includes the zoning side of everything, is we are going live with our permitting software on Monday. So bear with us as we are going to be kind of dual entering and working through a new system and going through that. So we will be having training majority of Monday morning, getting through all of that. We're excited because this also has conservation tracking, farmland preservation. Like there's a lot to this program that it's not just strictly for permits this time around. So we're excited to see what we can do and kind of go forward with it. And kind of go from there. So again, I just ask for patience from everybody as we work through the next couple weeks here, as we'll be working through kind of two systems and making sure everything is in and out. And we've been testing it and everything previously and making sure things are transferred. So it's been a process. So that is my update.
All right, well, thank you, Haley.
Yeah.
Lots going on.
Yes, as always.
As always. Item number 12, future agenda items. Anyone have anything else? 14, excuse me. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring forward for future discussion? And we'll keep a couple things on our agendas.
We'll keep the solar and data stuff
data
on there
centers.
just so we can.
Yep. Update.
I guess I encourage if anybody sees any, I mean, I get stuff, but I'm sure, if you see something, let us know, and we can share it, And,
Mark, there was a big meeting, and I didn't get a chance to attend for the Eau Claire area that they had the beginning of November, that they had a lot of information. I'll try to pull that information
be
to
nice.
you.
Yeah, I think
because it was on protecting Eau Claire County, but it was basically the same group that opposed the Osseo solar group were big pushers on it. So I'll talk to my crew up there and I'll get info what they actually did. It was at that reception center south of town on 93. Yeah. Did you get a chance to go to that, Stacy?
No, I was out of town.
Oh, yeah, you were traveling at that time. That was some fun time, it looked like.
I think we need to keep talking about the data centers thing too, make sure that.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, with that, our next regularly scheduled meeting, excuse me, is set for Wednesday, January 7th. I might have a conflict that morning. I do have a conflict, but you can sure run the ship without me at the helm, so. I hope
That's a
so.
good option.
Yeah.
I totally recommend that, by the way.
So, if that's okay with everyone, we'll stick with that and go from there. So we will go with these January 7th, 8:30. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 9:49. Thank you all.